Greetings and welcome to Kyber Academy. I'm your host Jordan, and we're here to provide you with quality information and guides to Star Wars Battlefront 2's various hero modes. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell to make sure you see every new video we release, and be sure to leave a comment letting us know what you'd like to see covered in future videos. Today, we'll be discussing Advanced Lightsaber Combat. But before we get started, we wanted to inform any viewers who may not be aware this game is currently free for PlayStation Plus subscribers, so if you or any of your friends are interested in trying the game out, this is the perfect time. With that out of the way, let's get started. We want to begin this video by exposing the dirty little secret of the Battlefront community. It is often referred to as parrying, counterattacking, or deflecting, but we like to call it counter-striking. A counter-strike occurs when you block an enemy lightsaber attack, while immediately following up with a swift and unavoidable swing of your own. The name is not the only thing that players cannot seem to agree on, as it is still debated whether this is a legitimate mechanic or a bug. Either way, with the final update having been released, one thing is for sure. Counter-striking is here to stay, so whether you love it or hate it, you better learn how to use it, or at the very least how to avoid it. The counter-strike is surprisingly simple to perform. When facing off against another saber user, simply hold the block button as normal and press the attack button the moment the enemy's lightsaber connects with yours. You'll land an immediate hit at full damage while still blocking any subsequent attacks. This process can be repeated so long as you have the timing and the stamina to keep it going. Be warned that counter-strike can consume stamina very quickly, as each block and attack will deplete it as normal. There are a few ways to best utilize counter-strikes. The first is as the ultimate defense against a swing spammer. Since learning how to counter-strike, I personally rarely lose to an opponent who just attacks until their stamina is depleted. With proper timing, you can block every swing, while getting your own hit in after each blocked attack. If you have enough stamina, you can bring an enemy down from full health to 0 in a matter of seconds. In fact, I found that the faster an enemy attacks, the easier they are to repeatedly counter. This is especially true for Count Dooku, as with his duelist power active, the player is swinging so fast that they rarely realize what's happening until it's too late, leaving them there to stare at the respawn timer wondering where they went wrong. Counter-strikes are also a great tool for dispatching enemies who are low on health but still on the offensive. Just be patient, wait for them to attack, and if your timing is right, you can get that last bit of damage that you need to end the fight. Note that this mechanic is not limited to basic attacks, as many force powers such as Darth Maul's spin attack or Rey's dash strike can also be countered. The skill that separates the good from the great, Footwork is a combination of dashing, jumping, and camera control. Oftentimes, the key to defeating your opponent is to outmaneuver them. In our first episode, we covered basic movement and sensitivity. This is where it all comes together. The front back dodge is a simple maneuver used to trick your opponents into exposing their back to you. To perform this maneuver, you must first be in close combat with an enemy. Dash forward through your opponent, then a moment later, without turning your camera, dash backwards to your starting position. This often causes your opponent to turn around, trying to defend against an expected attack. As they turn to face you, you're already back to where you started, poised to land a few critical strikes to their exposed flank. As mentioned in episode 1, attacks deal extra damage when hitting a character's back, so go for this critical damage whenever possible. Jumping is a great way to survey the battlefield while moving into an advantageous position. While we here at Kyber Academy discourage panic jumping, there are a few situations where jumping to higher ground can be a safe decision, allowing you to recover health and stamina. Just make sure you know the capabilities of the enemies that you're facing to minimize your chances of being punished. Some characters, such as Luke and Kylo Ren, can even use their powers in midair, catching many players off guard. Good camera control is an absolute necessity in this game. With lightsabers getting thrown at your face, force powers hurling you around, and 2-foot-tall green aliens whipping around you, this game can be a lot to keep track of. This is why being able to move your camera quickly is so crucial. The key to this is increased sensitivity, which we also covered in episode 1. Once you've mastered high sensitivity, you'll be able to keep your focus on your target while being able to react to changes on the battlefield, be that an unexpected force power or another enemy entering the fight. The key to using these movements effectively is to be proactive rather than reactive. Instead of dodging away from an attack, dodge through it, creating an opportunity to get the upper hand on your opponent. Up next, we have a few bonus tips to help improve your gameplay. Do not swing spam. I cannot stress this enough. This is not a game where you can just tank through attacks and go wild swinging your lightsaber around until everything stops moving. While this may work against infantry, AI heroes, and new players, any experienced lightsaber duelist is going to pick up on this right away and wipe the floor with you. Mix it up. As a space wizard, you have many tools at your disposal with which to battle your foes. Use them all. Bring a mix of attacks, powers, and footwork to keep your opponent guessing. Never be predictable. Do not underestimate the blaster heroes. Being able to block and dodge blaster fire does not make you invincible. In fact, one of the quickest ways to end up back at the character select screen is by taking a few shots to the face from a blaster. Sure, they might not have force powers or a fancy laser sword, but they do have thermal detonators and E11 assault rifles. If at all possible, try to eliminate ranged opponents first. Be mindful of your HUD. In a game as fast-paced as this, it's all too easy to lose track of the little numbers and details. There's nothing quite as frustrating as going to use a force power you forgot was on cooldown, or realizing that you're out of stamina while trying to press an attack. With experience, timing will become second nature, but until then, keep an eye on your HUD. Learn every hero. Even if you don't intend to play every character on the roster, I recommend playing each hero up till at least level 25. As this is enough time to get a good idea of how each character works, while learning their strengths and weaknesses. This will allow you to better support your team and effectively combat your opponents. It's also recommended to become comfortable with at least 4 characters on each side. That way you're never left in the dust if your teammates pick all the characters that you're good with. And who knows, you may discover a new favorite hero along the way. Know when to switch. Continuing from our last tip, it's important to know which character is best for a given situation. If the enemy team is bunkered down around a Captain Phasma sentry droid with 3 blasters and a Darth Vader playing tank, a BB-8 trying to roll in is not going to get very far. A Boba Fett constantly getting picked off by Finn or Lando is not contributing to his team. Luckily, you can change your character anytime you're defeated, and there's no shame in picking a better character for the job. Stick with your team. This is a game where teamwork prevails. With proper communication, I've seen teams of lower level players steamroll high level players, all because they work together. Always start off matches by moving as a group. The first big team clash usually will set the pace for the entire match. If you're able to wipe the enemy team, often they'll trickle in one at a time looking for revenge, only to be met by 4 bloodthirsty opponents awaiting their next kill. If you find yourself constantly outnumbered, you have only yourself and your team to blame. There's a time and place to peel off and look for duels, and we will be discussing that in an upcoming video, but for now, get together and stick together. Now that you know some of the more advanced mechanics behind the game's lightsaber combat system, get out and test them for yourself, and let us know in the comments which tactics you use to win your battles. In our next episode, we'll be taking a long overdue look at blaster heroes. This has been Jordan from Kyber Academy, and may the Force be with you.
I was expecting someone with your reputation. General Grievous, you're short.